All right, what's up, you guys? Welcome to another impromptu live stream number 2 for the month of March. How is everybody doing tonight? This was not on my bingo card, but here we are doing G.I. Joe news with G.I. Joe excitement. Now, as I usually say, this is what makes collecting G.I. Joes fun, simply because a lot of these figures, or I don't want to say a lot, but most of these figures, we were roughly aware that there were, leaks some time ago. But what makes it more exciting is not, ruining the excitement for it and kind of taking, the leaks as they, or I don't say leaks, but taking the info as they come, because then that makes it more exciting. Because if I had done leaks or videos on the previous leaks before, and then we would just be like, okay, we know it's coming, we know it's coming, we know it's coming, but then bam, we wouldn't be as excited as we probably are. Therefore, it's cool that finally, for a lot of these figures that we were quote unquote aware of, are finally, releasing. So it's good to actually, just get excited. So I'm excited. Are you guys excited? I'm excited. Despite, the retros being whatever, but at least we can all agree that Destro and his Despoiler is the highlight, the incentive of the entire, if you want to call this, wave of releases. So first and foremost, what's going on, Miss, for being the first one here in the chat? Because you are the first one here in the chat, I am going to pin your message. So there you go, Miss. Says, what's up, Shark, with the emoji. That's freaking awesome. We got the legendary Alan Balcom. What's going on, brother? Thank you so much for joining. And he says, hit that like button for sure. Thank you for reminding me as usual. We have hold on. Dalvin Monte, hopefully I pronounced that right. It says, what's up, Shark? I think this is your first time here. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure this is your first time here. So welcome to the chat. Then we have A. Romo. What's going on, brother? We have Mark Corkum. I think this is your, yeah, he does say first time for the live stream. Destro and Grunt will be mine, I hope. Welcome, Mark. Let's all welcome Mark, as this is his first live stream with us. So the Shark family is expanding, so that's freaking awesome. David Fordo, what's going on? Thank you so much for joining. I believe this is David's first time here too. We got a lot of first timers. Good stuff, man. Welcome, David. We have who do we have? Title Manish here. What's going on, brother? Good to see you. Sundar Ganesan with the shark emojis. Hell freaking yeah. What's going on, brother? We have Couch Boy with the yo's. Says Dad Destro is dope. Absolutely. We have Paul's Monk. Ooh, hold on. Paul's Monkanod Lock. What? All right, I'm just gonna say Paul Monkanon Lock, and I'm just gonna say Paul. What's going on, Paul? How's it going? We have Derek Holloman with the shark emoji. What's going on? And yeah, all right, cool. So, how is everybody doing since yesterday? I did not expect myself to go streaming tonight, but here we are, streaming for night 2 of new G.I. Joe classified reveals. Now, regardless, whatever your thoughts are in regards to the retros being, roughly the same as what we have before, have no fear, because we will have comparisons. So stay tuned for that. I'm just waiting for a little bit more people to join in on the stream. We have legendary Joe Barrett. What's going on, brother? I did see your email. I will respond to you shortly after the stream's over. So my apologies for that. I was busy trying to figure this live stream stuff out. Sundar Ganesan says smoking and locking. Nice, man. Hopefully you're smoking something good. Couch Boy says, what up, my man? All right, so we all know who Alan is. Good stuff. Look at that. Everyone's making friends here on the chats. Good stuff. See, that's what I like, when people actually know each other and everyone's saying, not just me because I'm the host, but I like that how everyone's kind of talking to each other and not just looking at me, right? So I like that. That's awesome. Let's see here. Where oh man, chat just jumped. What's happening? Oh, okay. All right. So Paul's username is smoking and locking. Okay. My bad. Thank you, Sunder, for helping me out on that. Jay Gustafsson, welcome to the stream. His by Destro will Wildbill, Grunt, and pass on Techno-Viper. Yeah, we're definitely going to talk about all of them shortly. I'm just going to give it just a few more minutes because usually YouTube sucks at sending out notifications. So if you guys can just bear with me, we will definitely get this live stream pumping soon. Paul says, I'm down for Wildbill and Destro. For sure. David says it's not your first time. Okay, I'm so sorry. I don't know why. It's maybe you changed your username photo because that looks different to me. But I apologize if this is not your first time. But thank you so much for joining, David. It's good to have you here. In fact, it's good to have all of you here. So good stuff, good stuff. All right, we'll just give it. I have two different timings from my phone to my computer, so I'm gonna find like a balance of when to start. Bill is William. William is Willie. Wild Bill should be Wild Willie. Yeah. All right. So, how is everybody doing on this Tuesday? Did we expect any G.I. Joe classified reveals to happen today, or did you guys think that whatever happened happened? Because honestly, as Alan Balcom nice and eloquently stated in one of my Instagram chats, I did read your message. I didn't get a chance to respond to it, but because I was doing this thing over here. But yeah, Hasbro has not gone and done any live stream or fan stream just yet. So I guess we should start off the stream with the events group because this is a brand new one to add to the list. So for the month of March, this will probably be the last thing for March, I assumed. So we have, so just in the month of March, we had Zanny and Rotclaw go for pre-order. And then on the 19th, we had the Walmart's Collector Con. And now we got new renders, which is obviously what we're going to talk about today. So, yeah, good stuff. Now, I don't know if you guys are fans of the channel Destro is My Spirit Animal, but this was like a couple of months back, if not mistaken, he shared a video about a lot of these figures being leaked, not leaked, but like a listing that was leaked. Now, I did see it, but I wanted to be a little bit more cautious in regards to I'm not sure if what was going to actually happen and what was wrong, so I didn't want to like piggyback off of that video. So I kind of wanted to just sit back and see what was going to come out and right, and it seemed like so far that leaked list was kind of on the money because I think the leak list had something with Professor, it didn't have the actual name, but it did share like a G.I. Joe figure with a dinosaur. And then it talked about Iron Grenadier Destro, talked about the retro Wild Bill, which was also a figure that leaked out somewhere in Asia. So we know that these things were roughly in the pipeline, but I just wanted to kind of sit back and wait and see what was going to be and what was going to be like false or what was going to be true, just for safety reasons. But otherwise, it seems like so far that list has been quite a bit of a reliable source. So good stuff. Yeah. So otherwise, bravo to Destro is My Spirit Animal for kind of foreshadowing a lot of these figures. And the best part is we get to be excited in the sense of, sure, we can think about the figures that are coming, but then we also were already in the concept of, having these figures like be rendered out. So it's all about the time of not knowing when they're actually going to be released, which makes it even more exciting. So I'm happy about that. Okay, so Taito says, I was just thinking about Destro's video and reaction following it. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. He should definitely do a video and, he should do a video and kind of celebrate, at least for being right so far, so that's good. Yes, so they're talking about the Legacy figures, and then let's talk about Legacy Series, not worth the $43, and they always hit clearance. Yeah, so if you guys haven't seen my earlier video where I talked about the what was it? The GI Joe Classified Legacy series. What's his name? Whatever that guy's name was. Action Soldier. A lot of collectors were finding this guy. What's his name? The Action Soldier. A lot of people were finding them already at Walmart. So I thought that was interesting because they haven't announced him for pre-order just yet. So yeah. Zed Burns says somebody told Herbie. I got it. Oh man. Well, welcome Zed Burns to the chat with the shark emoji. Good stuff. Jason Battaglia, welcome to the chat. Says Destro is absolutely called the gold shield with the sword part of it. Well, that's good stuff, man. Couchboy says, I just want it ordered. Skeletor and Legacy. Jerk Guy says, I found 2 cases today. Holy moly, good stuff, man. Tagworm, welcome Tagworm to the chat. Says he was actually dead on about Wildbill and color of his vest and whatnot. Yeah, have no fear, David. I don't say we because it's only me on here on this channel, but yeah, I'm not. Yeah, don't worry. We're all good here. Disney Coco. Okay. Now that we've got a few people here in the chat, I know it's very impromptu, so if you're going to be watching the stream later on, thank you for joining. If you're here already in the chat and stream, thank you so much for joining as well. So let's go ahead and start, and let's see what we got. Where am I going? Okay, let's get rid of this. We'll come back to that by the end of the stream. All right, so coming up first, we have none other than, of course, the GI Joe Classified Retro Techno-Viper. So, everybody here in the chat, what do you think about this particular figure? Is this a pass? Is this a buy? Do you have the original? Do you want this one too? Is Techno-Viper one of your favorites? Least favorites? Is he a good army builder? What's happening with this guy? What do you like? Let Off Chains says, I just found Grunt and Crimson Guard at Walmart today. Nice, man. Congrats. Good stuff. Sendel Krishnan, what's going on, brother? Thank you so much for joining. He says, what's up, Shark, with the question mark. What's going on, Sendel? Doing fine. We just started, so you made it just on time. Shout out to Sendel, always a very great supporter here on the channel. Jerk Guy says Ross. Derek Hallman says pass. Alan says pass on this. Prefer the classified version. Couchboy says OG was Grimace colors. Sunder says hard pass. I got classified version good enough. And A Ramos says pass. One thing to remember about this particular Techno-Viper is, retro card aside and the colors aside, the exact thing happened to the previous, should I say the original Techno-Viper that came out with a wave of Airborne and Quick Kick and all that stuff. I think original price was $25 because I remember I bought that figure back at GameStop for $25. Thankfully, it was at that price before they shot up to $27 or $28. But then I believe 2 or 3 times he went up on Amazon during Black Friday, as well as some other random sales for about, I think $12, $11, $10, $8, something like that, or I think $15 or $13. It was something around. It was definitely under $15. So for those that do not want to pay like $28 for this figure that you already have, then I highly suggest you wait for a sale, just because it seems very, very, very likely, because the retro, surprisingly, a lot of the retro figures on Amazon have been going on sale, and you've seen a lot of them, like Retro Duke, Retro Scarlet, Retro Recondo. All 3 of those have been on sale for like less than $12 on Amazon at some point here and there. And then I forgot what other retros we had. I mean, not every retro, but like a good amount of retros have been going on sale since last year. They kind of like, they go up and down kind of thing, but those 3 in particular definitely. So I think Zed Burns says Range Viper is difficult to find was from the beginning. I feel like they're going to re-release Range Viper again at some point just because the classified version of Range Viper is dark blue, whereas the original O-ring one was like a tealish color. So I think that's very, very likely going to happen. Title Manager says, I got 5 through Amazon haul for $8 each. I don't think I need any more. Well, so the reason why for people, for those collectors who want to buy this particular Techno-Viper again, is because, as you guys know, I like to come prepared on the streams for the sense of doing comparisons. Therefore, here is our comparisons of the retro Techno-Viper on the left and then the original Techno-Viper on the on the right. So for those who can manage, you know, not collecting variants, or should I say like color scheme variants, as we can see here, when I made my video, I was kind of baffled or confused because I didn't know what really the difference was between this and the original. So now that I look at them side by side, it finally made more sense because we can see here that the original Techno-Viper was not just lighter, like violet purple, but then the armor pieces was more extremely darker purple, or like closer to black, but like, you know, same dark purple, etc., etc. And then you can see the helmets, they both have the yellow eyes, which is cool, but the mouthpiece is also purple, at least on the original one. But then if we look at the retro one, at least from what I can tell, because the renders could be a little bit off-colored in the sense of we have to wait for official product shots to see like how the colors are really going to pop. But we can see that the retro one does have a more Barney-ish color, more vibrant purple, versus the torso chest plate piece, which is actually more like purple compared to like the blackish purple that we have on the original. And then of course the mouthpiece is also colored purple against the purple helmet. So there are very, very, very minor color differences, but if this is something of your interest and something that you want in your collection, at least, you know, one or two of to have at least an army build, you know, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just paying $28 for this is definitely like, that's a harsh price. So I would definitely wait, because this guy screams out like $11.99. Okay. So according to the chat, we have, let's see here. Everyone is saying pass. OG was, oh, I read that one already. A Romo is saying pass. Zed Burns has got the 788 one, exact same almost, says Couchboy. Mark says they didn't even try with this one, hard pass. Yeah, I mean, I've already shared some thoughts way before about like the differentiations between classified and retro and how it's not like, you know, it's not a night and day difference, like very, very minor differences, but it, you know, like it doesn't scream out like, holy crap, like I have to get this one, unless you're someone that, like I said, has like some type of collecting OCD where, you know, every color variation matters, but, you know, it just depends on your style of collecting. David says pass. Alan says I don't do retro even though I got a few of them. I mean, the retro's also been, you know, like think about it this way. Retro Beachhead has been found at Ross for about $8. So this will kind of put into perspective of where we'll probably see this Techno-Viper at some point. Couchboy calls it a Techno Remix Viper. Zedburn says this guy's on sale a lot. Should have been a retro carded Range Viper. I mean, Range Viper I can understand because he's harder to find, but Techno Viper, he's like kind of everywhere at the moment. Jerk Guy says Big Bad Toy Store for $15. Alan says the 788 version is fire. I mean, that one is cool because it came with the, you know, the attachment to the his tank, so that one's essential. Zedburn says Range Viper. Okay, I read that one. Couchboy says Barney versus Grimace. So we'll call this Barney Viper and Grimace Viper. That's yeah. Couchboy's got the names going on here. Zedburn says, I don't feel either of the two really match the old O-ring one. Yeah, so I will do a comparison with the old O-ring one, like not in today's stream because I want to wait for the official product shots and then because I want this one to be because these are just renders, so we're gonna go off lightly. But yeah, we'll get to that at some point. We have, let's see, Rocky Teller, welcome to the chat, says pass. The Comic-Con, oh my god, why can't I read today? The Comic-Con says, what's up, Shark, with the shark emoji. What's going on, brother? Thank you so much for joining. Russell Terrell says, sorry for the delay in coming. All good, Russell. We just started. Jerk Guy says, retro chuckles would be nice. Just a sidetrack, since you brought up chuckles. So here's the thing. I had a conversation with Santa Sampson about this when it comes, or I think it was Alan, about the Chuckles figure. The original Chuckles G.I. Joe Classified had the blue shirt with the floral patterns and all that stuff, right? Which is fine, but that's inspired off of the O-ring one. However, that one was an exclusive. However, the Chuckles, the original Chuckles that we see in the actual movie, the 1987 movie, had a white shirt with white petals or like the yellow flower designs and whatever. So realistically, I think what Hasbro really, really should have done is the exclusive version of Chuckles that we had like 2 years ago or whatever. That one should have been the one that was from the 1987 movie. And then the blue shirt Chuckles, because it was inspired from the O-ring, is the one that should have been a retro Chuckles. Because think about how much it doesn't make too much sense because this Techno-Viper, the one that we see on the left, is supposed to be inspired by the O-ring, but it's it's in the retro card back, which is fine. And then we have the one on the right, which is a classified one. But then if you look at Chuckles, that Chuckles comes in the regular classified box, but it's part of the O-ring version, like colored wise, that's part of the O-ring one, but it's not retro. So therefore, you see what I mean? Like their what do you call it? Their planning is a little bit all over the place, and that's what bothers me. Because now, if they ever decide to do a retro Chuckles, it would have to be the white shirt because I don't see any other option for them to do it. It'll kind of have to be like a mix and match. Let's see here. We have people are more saying pass, purple pills, M&M. The white shirt needs a missile. That would be nice. As Beecha says, that Chuckles needs to use the rocket launcher. What's going on, Joshua? How's it going? Having a Chuck Norris marathon. Chuckles white shirt with a missile, please. Yeah, just one Hiss tank missile. That should come as an accessory with that Chuckles figure. That would be hilarious. Jerk Guy says, I'd rather have a movie version. Well, I mean, both versions are great. It's just the planning of which one becomes a retro and which one becomes a regular classified version is where that gets a little bit messy and trickier, in my opinion. Movie Chuckles was a letdown, but the comic Chuckles was one tough SOB. Yeah, I mean, the movie Chuckles, he didn't even fight. I mean, sorry, he didn't even speak. So, it's fine. All right, so is there anything else that you guys would like to speak about this Techno-Viper, or shall we move on? Overall, I guess based off all the comments that I'm reading here on tonight's stream, or at least the chat, a lot of you are saying it's going to be a pass. So this is probably the weakest figure, probably amongst the 4 that we got revealed today. So unless the next one is another weak one, but I'll let you guys decide that. All right, so with that being said, let's go ahead and move on to the next figure because why not? So yeah, we'll come back to this Techno-Viper once we get more official product shots, but at least comparison-wise, we can say you know, I guess they're both good in their own way. I don't know. Tagworm says, why did they do this one though? Well, the one on the left is technically, no pun intended, supposed to be the one that was inspired by the O-ring original one, whereas the one on the right is supposed to be like the modern quote unquote updated version, even though that one pays homage to the original as well. But it's kind of, the one on the left is more similar to the O-ring compared to the one on the right. Purple Rain, Purple Rain. Yep. All right. So let's move on from Techno-Viper. We'll come back to him someday in the future. But you know what I would like to see though is a female Techno-Viper. I think she would look sick. Joe Bits Toys, welcome to the chat. Shout out to Joe Bits Toys, very good supporter of the channel. Says Shark, just tuning in. The rumors are true. Legacy action soldiers found at my local Walmart in Tennessee before pre-orders to boot. Congrats. I mean, I don't know if you bought it, but awesome that you actually saw them. So that's good stuff. Russell Terrell says an Arctic Techno-Viper might be cool to see. Yeah. I mean, yeah, because if they have in, what is it, the Arctic Assault HISS tank, then might as well do an Arctic Techno-Viper at some point too. Just color this guy all white, and it'll be a very easy repaint. Liquid Identity says Storm Shadow is no longer the retro with the least changes. I remember when that Storm Shadow came out, they did say they made it more pearly or white, and they just took off like the padded gloves or something, but it's mostly the same. Because Range Viper has a female called Evie, and she was pretty badass in the show. At least I thought so in the Deke series. So if they can do a female Range Viper called Evie, then they can definitely do a female Techno Viper. I think she would look sick. Loneliest Monk says, I brought a Crimson Guard from Amazon, and he came in a Techno Viper box. After a year of having Techno as a kid, he was just a box fodder. Nice. I mean, that sucks, but at least you got the figure. All right, so let's move on from Techno Viper. We'll come back to them someday in the future, but we'll see what happens with that. Up next, we're going to be talking about Retro Grunt. Now, for all you OG13 collectors out there, for those that are one step away from having your figures complete, Grunt is a figure that I did not see coming by any means, because as people who are more invested in Original 13, everyone's still waiting for Flash and Grand Slam. So to have a Retro Grunt come out of nowhere was kind of like, okay, I see where they're going, because they did have to recreate this Grunt just because it's more stripped down, it's more classic, I guess, and yeah, I mean, accessories, weapons, whatever, like, that's fine. But Russell Terrell says, absolutely. Loneliest Monk says, Lady J might be the least changed to retro. Lady J, I think Lady J had more makeup on the retro one, and her face looked a little bit better, but she had I think it was a lighter green outfit. 49er Brian, what's going on, brother? Says, yo, Shark with the shark emojis. He says, hit that or smash the like button. Yeah, make sure you guys hit the like button, because I don't have any stream goals for tonight in terms of likes, but we're at 34. Let's see how much we can get for tonight. So yeah, hit that like button, guys. Let's see how far we can get. Couchboy says, no cell phone, huge win, better. I mean, this one does not have the Joe Pro like the original one had. So, all good, Alan. Loneliest Monk says, isn't there already a release to Grunt? Says Loneliest Monk, absolutely, because I came prepared. Bam! All right, so here is the comparison between the regular, or should I say the Grunt that came on the right and then the Grunt on the left. So, I mean, it really just depends on your preference. I mean, obviously, Original 13 collectors would want this. It kind of prolongs getting the Flash and Grand Slam, because those are the last two to complete it. So honestly, I literally forgot that there was going to be a retro Grunt at some point, because I'm trying to remember, because I think the retro, well, no, the mass device breaker, hold on, breaker that came with the RAM site, or that came with the bike, the Cobra Island one, that one was different from the mass device breaker, but I don't think that breaker is still accurate, right? I think we still need to get a retro breaker at some point. I don't know if you guys agree, or you can correct me in the comments or in the chat. Let me know. Isn't there? Oh yeah. So Russell says 90. Tagworm says 100. I think that's a little bit too steep, just because I wasn't planning to stream tonight, so I think 90 likes might be a little too steep. Even 100 might be steep. Retro looks even more pissed off. Yeah, I mean, it's a slightly improved head sculpt, that's for sure. I mean, I think some people do forget that the original 13, a lot of their designs were very simple, or they were, they didn't have too much designs on their outfits, so it's not too far off from a retro green shirt army builder. But this is one of those instances where you can literally take the grunt on the right and then kind of create a brand new character, or use that steel core helmet. Because if you're someone that really wants the iconic classic retro, or OG 13 style design figures, part of the retro card backs, then yeah. Because now this grunt is on the retro card back, the rock and roll got the retro card back treatment, and then Zap is on a retro card back, but we still haven't seen Zap in a regular, like, quote unquote squared box classified version. I don't think they'll do that, because they already gave him a retro one, so we'll see what happens with Zap. But otherwise, once again, Flash and Grand Slam are the last two to be released. Liquid Identity, welcome to the chat, says didn't like classified Grunt, might actually get the OG Grunt. I mean, the OG one is still pretty cool though. They're both good in their own way. Only awesome action figure says looks like a Hasbro bait and switch. So many of these retros are super cheap on the paint apps. Well, I mean, the retros are technically, how do I explain it? I think it's because a lot of people, they wanted it as accurate to the O-ring as possible, so you can't really expect them to look... I mean, I get it. I think the quality and color should be slightly better, but if it's accurate, then there's nothing I could really say about it. Zedburn says Mass Device Breaker looks better with the Retro Stalker overlay. So, welcome D Sanchez to the chat. How's it going, brother? A little bag of options would go a long way. Well, I think it's because we also have to remember that the one on the right was initially the idea of where Classified was heading, but because a lot of people complained saying that these figures don't look like what we played with as a kid, the GIJOE team is slowly moving away from these updated designs and now giving us, the old versions that people just want what they had as a kid, just in a blown up 6-inch scale version, compared to having a completely new modernized version of that figure, which kind of sucks because I would have loved best of both worlds, but it seems like they're leaning way too heavy on retros, which is not a bad thing. But we're kind of losing out on more incentive, better ideas in terms of how this figure would have looked in like a modern age, but it kind of is what it is. Because a good prime example would be the character Crazy Legs. Crazy Legs automatically came out in the retro card back, and I don't think we're going to get a regular, like a updated modern Crazy Legs, quote unquote, just because the the box of that Crazy Legs was already part of the Haslab Dragonfly, and that was a Night Force version. So the fact that the original O-Ring one was the retro card back was also based on the O-Ring one, I don't see them doing like a re-release of Crazy Legs with like some unique updates at any time. D. Sanchez says, I like the updated designs. I mean, yeah, I like both. It just depends on what your preference is in terms of which figure just looks great. 49er says, Despoiler and Destro are great. Now release a Thunder Machine and my year is good. I mean, I would love to see Voltar, that's for sure. We need a Voltar figure. Welcome Mad Drop to the chat, says people need something to complain about. Yeah. But it does kind of put the G.I. Joe team in a bubble because they want to make the most money as possible, but then when collectors are complaining about, they want it to look accurate to what they had back then they're kind of like stuck because they want to please the older collectors, but I don't know. Zozu3612, welcome to the chat. I believe this is your first time here. Welcome. Says, I'm okay with the old version. Is the retro on sale like 30% off is okay? Yeah, I mean, once again, like, I guess we can kind of agree, or I don't want to say confirm, but at some point, anything retro related most likely will be on sale because once again, as I mentioned earlier, the Duke, Scarlet, and Rakondos were on sale. Retro Beachhead and Snow Serpents was found at Ross for $8. So the retros are a little bit unpredictable, but it seems very likely like those will be on sale. Even though very surprised at Retro Duke. It's quite hefty on eBay, but he's also on sale like sometimes on Amazon for like $13. So not sure what's happening there, but it is what it is. Mad Drop says he looks good. Tagworm says all they have to do is give us our old stuff, then move forward with the new stuff. The Loneliest Monk says hit them likes. How many likes do we have right now? All right, let's try to get to 55 likes for tonight's stream. That's my goal because it's a very impromptu stream. Let's do 55. We're at 44 right now, so I'm sure 55 will be manageable because there's like a little bit less than 60 of you here right now, so should be good. All right, so let's move on from Grunt. Is there anything else people need to say about this guy, or shall we move on to the next one? I personally would have loved the Retro Duke sculpt a lot more if it wasn't the same as Starduster. If Starduster was completely different, then I would say, yeah, they're both, best of their both worlds. But every time I see Retro Duke and then I see Starduster, then I'm like, they're both the same. One's just beige, yellow, green. The other one's like blue, like light blue with gray pants. So with black hair too. All right, so here we go. We're moving on from this guy. So that is the Retro Grunt, and we will definitely talk about this guy once more official product shots release, but good stuff. All right, now, although this figure is not the main figure or the most, I don't want to say what's the word I'm looking for. It's not the most excited figure that people want in the collection, but it's definitely the most talked about, more than Destro in my opinion, just because this figure kind of comes with a catch, so to speak. So we have none other than the new G.I. Joe classified Retro Wildbill. So here's the thing. I read a good amount of comments on the channel, and some people were saying, so hold on, because you do know I'm gonna have a comparison of this, so just stay with me on this. But Flaming Crow, how's it going? I'm Roland Mac, how's it going? Thank you so much for joining, both of you. So initially, Wildbill was part of the Haslab Dragonfly, which is 100% valid. That was great. I wouldn't have had it any other way. Good stuff. Now, before we even had any leaks of a retro Wildbill a couple of months ago, my personal thoughts were that okay, because if they had a release of this Wildbill figure, and the original Wildbill from the Haslab is very similar to the original O-ring one, right? So now my only thought was if they were to do a retro carded Wildbill, because they know that not everyone funded the Haslab, they know that not everyone wants to pay high prices on eBay. So how do we get people to enjoy a Wildbill without having them, do all that crazy aftermarket prices? So I initially thought that if you want to make this green Wildbill as exclusive to the Haslab as you can, you keep that one green. As much as it sucks that those who didn't fund it, would have to pay higher prices to get that classic colored Wildbill. But if they wanted to do a retro one, I honestly would have preferred them to do like how it was in the cartoon, or even the the cartoon where he had the blue jumpsuit with the orange vest. I thought that would have been more ideal, but it seems like now, but again, it's best of both worlds for those who don't want to pay high prices for that Wildbill. That's totally fine. I mean, it does come with the knife, the 2 weapons, as well as extra hair. But if we look at the comparisons of the Wildbill figures based off of both renders that we see here, so here's what I'm looking at in terms of the differences, at least what I can point out, starting from bottom to top. So the zippers on the Dragonfly version are black, whereas the retro one, it's all green. It's blended in with the pant color. The zippers on the thigh, you can see that is also silver on the Dragonfly version, whereas the retro one, they colored his zipper green as well. At least like the little handle for the zipper. Then the belt, aside from the light color of the brown in terms of very subtle difference, but you can see here that they also gave him more of a bull belt, right? Kind of like a little design right in the buckle, whereas I think the Dragonfly version has more of a regular belt. I don't see the bull on it, but maybe it's there. I don't remember. And of course, the gloves, all green compared to the Dragonfly where he had the brown gloves. And then the vest, you can see here that they gave him the orangish, like, kind of zippers and like little brush or wash on the vest, whereas the retro one is kind of all like one color, like they didn't put any designs on them. But then it seems like he still has the patch on the arm, if I see correctly. And then the glasses are 2 different colors because it looks like the Haslab one has darker tints to it, whereas the retro one has a lighter tint, and I think it's a different frame color. I could be mistaken just based off of this one, what I'm seeing here. And then the hat is roughly the same, and I think they just made the gold design pop just a little bit more. So otherwise, in my personal opinion, I think that the Haslab one conquers over this retro one because it looks far superior. Cobra for life, how's it going? Thank you so much for joining. He says, sorry, I'm late. You're all good, brother. Let me just read the chat real quick. Couchboy says blue with orange would be better. Jerk says yes. Zedburn says yeehaw. Lonius Monk says yeah, man. That's the Wildbill. Russell Terrell says now I can have Wildbill displayed in my Dragonfly and have this one displayed with my other figures on the shelf. I mean, that's good. Yeah, that works. Zozu says I didn't buy the Haslab. I'm very lucky I didn't. The huge price in the eBay for Wildbill. Yeah, I mean, if you didn't get it, then this works for you for sure. Only awesome action figure says like the figure, but again, the lack of paint for the retro you guys enjoy. Wild Willie says Couchboy. Roland Max says, I would get him just because I didn't open my Dragonfly, keeping mint in box and no space. That works too. Zed Burn says, Retro has reverse draw holsters. Does it? Interesting. Where am I? Okay. Zozu says, I hope one day they will have a Tiger Force helicopter and Wildbill. Then Couchboy says, you keep saying best of both worlds. Someone saw Hannah Montana 20, I think. No, not yet. Dragonfly still looks better, says Roland Mac. The Loneliest Monk says, damn, with them side by side, the Dragonfly one takes the cake. I agree. Flaming Crow says they definitely should have went with the blue outfit. I agree with that too. Merging Lion says, since I don't have Wildbill from the Dragon Haslab, it's a must buy. Absolutely 100%. Only Awesome says the cavalry hat is cool. Flaming Crow says way more detail on the Haslab. I agree. I mean, rightfully so, because it is a Haslab, so it should be, you know, people paid that much for it. So, other than the weapons, which I thought that was a disaster for the Haslab, the Wildbill figure is still pretty good. BD Bonsai, what's going on? Thank you so much for joining. A lot of cloth for what the retro is. Oh, sorry, a lot of coin for what the retro is. Yeah, $28. I mean, it is what it is. A lot cheaper than paying eBay prices for the Haslab, that's for sure. Roland says, right, they got the mold. At least give us different colors. Because, like, I'm not trying to discourage anyone who didn't have or didn't get the chance to buy the Haslab one, but it's kind of like, you know how the G.I. Joe team always says we want to make the Haslab versions as exclusive as they can be, so it's like a one and done deal. Like, if you missed out, then you missed out, which rightfully so, because you're paying like over $200 for these damn vehicles and figures. But then, obviously you're waiting like you're not really sure which figures will get the retro treatment, so it kind of feels like, I mean, it's a retro, so it's a watered down version of the Haslab, but to me, it's kind of like, okay, well, now my Haslab one doesn't feel as exclusive as it should, because now we know that there's another version out there that people can actually widely get, which is not bad. Again, like, I'm happy for those that are able to get it, but now I kind of like, I don't take the words of the G.I. Joe team that seriously, just because now they're going to be like, well, we want to give you figures that other people won't get, but now people will probably assume or think, will be like, well, we're probably going to get a retro one at some point, so maybe I'll wait. So I guess that kind of screws them up a little bit, but eventually it still sells out, so it's not a big deal. But you want to feel a little bit more exclusive to the party, right? Like you're part of some cool kids club, but it's okay. No worries though, no harm done. So that is Retro Wildbill. Very happy to see this one. Russell Terrell makes a very good point. He says, so retro version of Wild Weasel in the future. I think that is very likely going to happen, just because the helmet of Wild Weasel, the one from Classified, is super duper modern-esque, whereas the one from the O-Ring, or if you even look at the artwork of the Wild Weasel, you'll see that he has like a different design to him, which the Haslab one doesn't have. So I feel like they're going to re-release that one, except without an alternate head sculpt. So I feel like that's probably going to happen at some point. But yes, Flaming Crow also makes another valid point. Retro Frostbite. And I've said this before and back in my Haslab Snowcat videos. If you haven't seen those, that's like from way back when. But I talked about how the comparison of the Frostbite from the Haslab, it's colored differently than the original O-Ring one, because the fur on the Frostbite figure the color is different compared to the original. So I feel like that one is definitely, it's a stretch, but I feel like it's definitely going to happen, because if they want to create like an O-Ring version, then I feel like they'll definitely have a retro Frostbite and a retro Wild Weasel at some point. So I think that's definitely going to happen. So I agree with Russell Terrell and Flaming Crow about the retro Frostbite and Wild Weasel. However, as for the, retro Hiss Tank Driver, I don't know about that one. That one's a little bit of a stretch. But you can never have too well. The retro his tank army, the driver is going to be like it's an army builder per se, right? So how they're going to utilize that one, I mean, they have all the designs from the mock-ups of when they did the when the his tank first came out and we had the options to choose from the 6 to vote on. So they could easily give us one of those, and it could be a very big possibility of that. So I think that would be a pretty cool incentive for those. So yeah, I think you guys are kind of like on the ball here. I think that's definitely going to happen. Couchboy says retro version 2 Snake Eyes. That is really great, like better than the 00. Russell says his tank driver was pretty close to the retro. Yeah, that's why I'm saying the his tank driver is kind of a bit of a stretch, but you never know, man. The GI Joe team is very unpredictable, so we'll see what happens. All right, so that was Retro Wild Bill. Clearly, I mean, both are good in their own way, but obviously, if you don't want to spend high prices on the eBay one or the Haslab one, you're also missing out on a lot of detail. At least we can see from the zippers to the what do you call it, the vest, and then the gloves, and then the glasses, and then the hat, etc., etc. So, yeah, I mean, if you like the retro one, that's great. If you like the Haslab one, that's great. If you like both, cool. If you think one is better than the other, it is what it is, but let's see what happens. But we definitely know that the retro one will hopefully be the $28 price point, unless prices don't go up anytime soon this year to like $30. So hopefully that's not the case. All right. So now that was Retro Wild Bill. We will come back to this guy someday in the future once we get official product shots, and we'll do better comparisons with the O-ring. And now Zuzo says, do you have a Wild Bill? I do have a Wild Bill. Yes, I do. I mean, you're not going to be able to see it, but where I'm pointing at, he's like somewhere standing over there. He's somewhere in that little crowd that I have. Roland Max says, number 1, Rattler, number 2, Hiss Tank, number 3, Dragonfly. Flaming Crow says, I wanted the Bivouac and Frostbite, but not the rest. Oh, damn. You actually wanted the Bivouac. That's cool. All right. Now let's move on to probably, or should I say, is the best reveal of the day. We have none other than Pimp Daddy Despoiler. Iron Grenadier's Destro finally makes his way into the GI Joe classified line, and I should have done an actual comparison or side by sides with all the other Iron Grenadiers, but that's okay. We'll do that on another live stream. So now we have Iron Grenadier Destro, and now we have, let's see, we have Metalhead, we have the Iron Grenadier Bat, we have the Iron Grenadier Army Builder, and then we have who else am I missing? Oh, we have what's that guy's name? Darklon, and then is that it? Is that it? Those 4, right? Am I missing anyone? Somebody let me know if I'm missing somebody. Darklon, Metalhead, Iron Grenadier Bat, regular Iron Grenadier. Now we have Destro. So I know that this figure was someone that mostly everybody was waiting for. So this is going to be one of those instances where this figure is heavily going to sell out. Like, there is no doubt about it. You guys, I mean, a lot of people can either pass on it or get it, but we know for a fact that this figure will be a very hard one to get. I could be wrong, but I think Jedi Jaybird over on X or Twitter did say that this was a $60 figure that came to the US. Now, don't quote me on that. I'm forgetting right now, but if it's not, like, don't quote me on this, but I'm guessing, or at least I thought I read it somewhere that it was 60, but if not, it might be higher than that. We'll see, because it does come with this Despoiler, which we'll look at shortly. But let's look at let me read the chat real quick. Bow-legged Destro. The AI retro art sucks on these retro figs. I mean, hopefully it does look even better in person, but for now, like, this does look still pretty decent. Jerk Guy says awesome. Couchboy says Destro Ricketts version. Zozo says this looks super cool. Zed Burn says boots make him look like an SNM Destro. I mean, I think I don't know if I'm looking too deep into it, but doesn't he look like he has, like, very big thighs, right? Does he look like he has big thighs? I think he has bigger thighs. He looks a little bit bulkier, which is not, it's not bad, because I like when my Joe figures have, like, or Cobras have, like, different proportions, but his thighs just look a little bit off to me, in my opinion. Russell says, does anyone have a William Wallace figure without a Scottish Claymore sword? Here you go. Well, yeah, I mean, the sword looks cool. I like that. Also, if you're someone that collects Savage Crucible figures, they have very similar... Wait a minute. They have similar sheets where you can put the sword in, but hopefully this is an actual chain. I would feel really disappointed if... that chain that's attached to the sheath is not... it's not just straight up molded plastic. You know what I mean? Like, I would really prefer it's like a gold chain, even though that's wishful thinking, but probably. David says, yes, can't wait. Couchboy says, fantastic chef's kiss. Zedburn says, a gold revolver is pretty badass. That's, yep. Didn't the first Cobra Commander come with a gold revolver? Is that right? I don't remember. Or was that a silver one? Man, I'm blanking out. D. Sanchez says, bro, Iron Grenadier Destro looks so cool to me. Loneliest Monk says, this Iron Grenadier Destro looks mean. That riding sword is crazy. I agree. Flaming Crow says, I didn't do the Iron Grenadier subline, but he looks pretty cool. That is true. Benedict says, Destro is my spirit animal, continues to be vindicated. Yeah, he did call this out. He did say it was coming because he had a source that had the leak list. So shout out to Destro as my spirit animal. He's on the ball right now. He's on the money. Couchboy says $100 though, right? $80. Possibly. I don't know. We'll see. Only Awesome says, did they say available for this? Not yet. They will have more information soon. Because if this figure was labeled to already arrive in the US, I assume that the pre-order should be sometime within this month. Within the next 2 months, that's for sure. Because unless they're saving them for Yojo June, but that would be way too soon. Because if it already arrived in the US, then definitely. Russell says he's cool. Yeah, man, Couchboy, definitely. Really, yeah, great channel for sure. Only Awesome says exclusive. We don't know, but we'll see. I mean, if it comes with a vehicle, then most likely, probably. Zed Burns says same price as Swamp Ski or Zanya. Seems like there will be more Iron Grenadier Destro Despoilers. I mean, Zanya was a different story just because she came with an army building vehicle, at least for the Dreadnoks. Whereas Destro and his Despoiler is just one and done, right? Like, I don't know how many you would really need of this, but that's up to you. So I don't think you really need to army build this or the vehicle, but, BD Bonsai says he looks legit, and I like his vehicle too, but never was down with the Iron Grenadier line. Yeah, that's because the Iron Grenadiers had, like, a completely different color scheme, a different, like, style to them, so it just depends on your preference. Loneliest Monk says he does look a little bit wide on the sides. Zed Burns says Destro doesn't skip leg day. Couchboy says, I think I should get my face on a shield. That branding is a plus. Yeah, I do like that shield. I do like his alternate head sculpt though. The yelling face, that looks really cool. Joe Swanson legs. Is that a Family Guy reference? Zed Burns says Cobra was always on top of their brand recognition. I mean, remember in the animated series when Cobra Commander, basically made Destro spend billions of dollars on a laser to only have Cobra Commander carve his face on the moon. Loneliest Monk says, it could be wrong, but it doesn't look like a chain. Like, I mean, it's designed to be a chain, but is it going to move like a chain? I don't know. Like, is it just sturdy plastic in that design? Probably. Couchboy says, by the way, I know the leg looks a little pick in the fig. I love this. I kid out of love. Lieutenant Dan Destro legs. The alternate head looks wicked, says D. Sanchez. I agree. Maybe they'll give us the same yelling face in silver instead. Or at some point, if they ever decide to re-release Destro or something. At least with the silver dome. Russell says, seems like a lot of these Joes are coming in the US long before pre-orders. Has Hasbro changed their ordering process, not longer having to wait 7 months or more? I mean, honestly, I don't mind it one bit, because if it helps prevent leaks, if it helps prevent spoilers, if it helps prevent, the excitement of Joes, I love it more when they just come out of the blue. And that's what makes collecting exciting, right? When the company itself does like a sudden drop and you're like, holy shit, that's fun. If we have people like leaking out like everything, it kind of like, it does take away some fun from it, even though we can expect it at some point. But yeah. Let's see here. Zozu says, I think this one should be the same price like a Serpentor, or even more expensive. Damn, that's crazy. How much was Serpentor? Does anybody remember? Because I forgot. David says it will be sold out in the... Yeah, let's 100%, as David says, this is going to sell out like hotcakes. So we should all be on our A game at this point with this figure. Loneliest Monk says, that's what I mean. It looks like molded plastic. It doesn't move. Yeah, you're right. Holy shit. 49er Brian with the $5 says, the Shark, it's my birthday weekend. Ladies and gentlemen, let's all wish 49er Brian a very happy birthday. It is his birthday weekend, or at least this weekend. So for all of you that are in the chat right now, let's all wish happy birthday to 49er Brian. He is also a legendary supporter of the channel. He's been here through all 3 channels, so thank you, 49er Brian, man. Like, you've been such a great asset to the group and the chats. So that was a very lovely, generous $5 donation. But let's all wish him a very, very, very happy birthday to 49er Brian. Thank you for being here, and hope you have a very wonderful birthday. Please do eat a piece of cake on all of our behalves, and don't get a sugar rush. But yeah, man, enjoy your birthday. Have a blast, brother. Have some fun. Enjoy it. So now let's take a look at the Despoiler. What do you guys think of this vehicle? Well, and yeah, as Russell Terrell says, thank you for reminding me, because it is 49ers birthday this weekend. Let's try to get to... All right, let's make this funny. I would say 49 likes, but we've already surpassed that. And since we're already at 54, let's give 49ers 69 likes. So in honor of tonight's stream, we're gonna dedicate it to 49er Brian. So let's try to get to 69 likes. If we can get that in honor of 49ers birthday, that would be great. Yeah. Look at all the people wishing happy birthday, man. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. Love and respect to everybody in the chat wishing happy birthdays. Good stuff, man. Only Awesome says his nephew has one today too. All right, let's all wish Only Awesome's nephew a very happy birthday. You don't have to share his name, but let's all wish Awesome Action Figures' nephew a happy birthday as well. So happy birthday to your nephew, Only Awesome. Batman Despoiler looks like a Bat Tech. Takes up more space at the Trouble Bubble. Despoiler looks like it'll be kind of bulky. I do like the design of it. I I think it looks fine. Like like I'm not an Iron Grenadier collector, so I'm pretty sure I'm not going to be getting this whatsoever. But for those that want it, I still think it looks fine. Like it looks dope. Like I'm not a sub team kind of person, but unless it's like Battle Force 2000 or some shit. But the Iron Grenadiers are like I definitely want to wait and get Voltar. Hopefully, like that figure hopefully should look sick. But I as long as the golds don't look like too muted, if it's not like too dull or bland, but he does have the Destro logo there, right? Yeah, has Destro's logo there. That's got some good decals, some good rivets, missiles and all that stuff. So I don't think it'll be that big, but if we look at the 6-inch scale concept, him sitting in the seat and just imagine how far it'll go out, I don't think it's like that big, but it might be decent size. Um, so Jobit's Toy says the we are probably gonna get the Dominator helicopter. I mean, do you guys want more Iron Grenadier vehicles, or do you want them to focus more on the actual figures? Because there's still about like what 6 or 7 more characters. I forgot the name of the other guys, but because I keep thinking of Voltar because that's the only guy I want. But there's Targat. There's the other one that starts with the D. I think I forgot all their names, man. But you know what I mean. Um, cool. Everyone's wishing happy birthday. Awesome, awesome. Absolutely, Russell. You guys are freaking amazing, man. Thank you guys. Yeah, hope your nephew has a really great birthday. Only awesome. And hope 49er has a really great birthday too. Couchboy says just do a Fang. It's iconic. Do it. Yep. T-Dub. Did I welcome T-Dub to the chat? Welcome T-Dub to the chat. Figure is running out of vehicle room. It is inevitable. Yep. But I do believe like Skyhawk, Fang, those are like super duper essential vehicles that need to be made. So we'll see whenever the hell those come out because they're pretty small, so it shouldn't take them that long. But I don't know what's the holdup. Loneliest Monk says looks beefy, looks dope. Hope to get that order during the 10-second window. Yeah, I mean honestly, like you guys know that I'm going to be providing the links on my post tab page, but I really do wish all of you best of luck for those that want to get this because I don't want to discourage anybody by saying like you're not going to have a chance to get it, but since, making classified news since like 2020, people have been asking for Destro and his despoilers, so I think this thing will sell out. Like I hope they make just enough that it doesn't sell out. Like I want to be optimistic, but with the way pre-orders sell out really fast, regardless on Pulse and this and that, especially with this being a vehicle and it's Destro. We haven't seen Destro come out in like I don't know since the retro card back one, which was like 4 years ago. So finally, that Destro makes his welcoming return with the vehicle. Like I assume that this one will sell out. So. Yeah, best of luck to everybody who wants to get this for sure. The Sun and his hooded Cobra Commander. The Flak, Big Double Laser, Fang and Skyhawk 2-pack. That would be actually really cool because if they can do that Snake Eyes and the Viper 2-pack, if it's what I'm hearing, it's a 2-pack, then then Skyhawk and Fang would be really sick. Liquid Identity says, isn't this a fan channel? I have no idea. I'm taking the news as it comes. So if it is, cool. If not, then that would suck. But, more options, the better. If it is a fan channel, then, people have so many options. Big Bad Toy Store, Entertainment Earth, etc., etc. But if it's Hasbro Pulse, then everyone is freaking screwed. As long as it's not a Target exclusive, as long as it's not a Walmart exclusive, then we should all be hopefully good on this. But here is the photo of Destro with the despoiler. Now we get to see like the missiles. Obviously, it's not scaled properly, but you pretty much get the point. A lot of golds, a lot of blacks, a lot of good designs, good details. Like, I think it looks fine. Like, it's a cool figure. If this is something up in your alley, then for sure. What was that horizontal tank with the thunder as the driver? By the way, we are at 62 likes. We still have to reach our goal of 69 for 49er Brian's birthday. We're almost there, guys. We're almost there. 49er says, aren't the Headhunter Stormtroopers part of the Iron Grenadiers? I don't think so. I think they're just colored the same thing. They do have that gold and black aesthetic, but I don't think they're part of the Iron Grenadiers. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, though. They're always a pain. I agree. A lot of missiles, a lot more than the original. Liquid says, if it is a fan channel, it would hit Amazon and likely won't sell out at all. Pulse pre-orders maybe, but not Amazon. Yeah, I feel like a lot of people... So, obviously people head towards Hasbro Pulse first. I do know that Entertainment Earth is probably the least liked website because of their shipping and like just, I don't know, but usually Amazon is probably the best, and then Amazon and Hasbro Pulse are usually the best in the sense of if you buy it from Hasbro Pulse, then chances are they do ship on time or earlier than expected, which is good. Or if it's Amazon, sometimes they're faster than Hasbro Pulse, so it's usually those two back and forth. Big Bad Toy Store kind of it's like it's up in the air. It just depends on when they get the inventory, but sometimes Big Bad Toy Store is good too. David Ford says the price will be $125. Would you guys buy this if this was $125? This is all in one. Couchboy says Big Bad Toy Store $4 went up to $6 flat now. Yes, for those that do pre-order from Big Bad Toy Store, they did share an announcement that they now increased their shipping to a flat rate of $6 now. I mean, I don't know if that's a big deal to a lot of people, but yeah, I did see that message going on. So for those that do order from Big Bad Toy Store, just, hopefully you saw that email or that message that they sent out. Zedburn says, I got the Zania Swamp Skier on Amazon because the price would get me free shipping. Oh, there you go. Yay, now I get to buy more gold bats, says Only Awesome. That's true. Joe Bit says 130 bet. Only Awesome says hell no. Everyone says, okay, I can see them pushing it to $100 maybe. I could see it. I mean, let's see. If Zania was $60, and if this guy comes with a lot more and a bigger vehicle, I would say maybe anywhere from the range of 85 to 100, something around that. A Romo says 64 likes. Now we're at 65. Okay, we only got 4 more. We got to celebrate 49er's birthday. 69 likes and we're done. D. Sanchez says all of them websites have always gave me stuff on time and well packaged. Thank God. Russell Terrell says $100. Only because I'm adding an additional like 20 because of inflation and crap. Otherwise, I would say this would have easily been like 70, 75. Maybe that might be a little too low, but with the way prices are going, like, they're charging like $60 for like, or 42 even for an action soldier. I would say at least, well, the snake armor was like what, 80 something. So, and that was a freaking massive ass piece. So then this guy, I would say at least, but it's a vehicle, so Yeah, I'll say anywhere from 85 to 100. If it's like over 100, I'll be like, holy crap. Uh, Benji Williams, welcome to the chat, says, "What's up, Shark? Probably going to be around $100. Put me down for one." There you go. So I think we're kind of all roughly in the same ballpark. But if it's like, let's say, over $100, then you obviously know that's going to be an interesting thing. Like, I'm going to have a video of me complaining about the price, but we'll save that for another time. But I think anywhere from 85 to 100 seems really good. So on that note, now that we got, so we'll wait for more official product shots for Destro, and we'll see how this figure turns out with the official photography, because I know that, like I said, if Jedi Jaybird and Full Force shared that it's coming, it already arrived in the US, I'm sure I'm sure pre-orders will be sometime soon, hopefully within the next month or two, so we'll definitely have more updates and information as time goes on, or if the G.I. Joe team decides to, actually share information, we'll see what happens. But here is the new list of the 2026 group, because we eliminated quite a few from the last few pre-orders, and now we're finally adding more new people onto the list. So if you guys are new to the channel, and if this is your first time here on my live streams, I've been adding figures, I've been taking out figures, I've been burnt out from talking about certain figures because nothing has happened with them for a very long time. So let's quickly run down these figures real quickly and see what we got left. So from right to left, we have Taurus and Reddog, which should hopefully go up for pre-order very, 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 very soon, because these two have also been arrived in the U.S. Then we have the three Arctic figures. What's the name? Saw Viper, Drift Viper, and the Steel Core. We have no idea what the hell's happening with those just yet, so we'll come back to them at some point. I already talked to Death about the Haslab Snowcat, so nothing to say there. Then we have the latest retro Grunt and Wildbill, which we just talked about, as well as the new Destro and his Despoiler. Then we have the Ramp Rats 2-pack, which we've already talked about in the previous video, but we're still waiting on Hasbro to talk about, that, because what's actually very interesting now that I look at this list, the Ramp Rats were leaked out. The Ramp Rats were leaked out last week, and Hasbro still hasn't confirmed or denied anything yet, or haven't made any official announcements for those. And we already have official product shots for those and photography, but today they only announced Despoiler with the 3 other retros, and they overlooked the Ramp Rats. So I thought that was very, very interesting. Then we have the retro Techno-Viper, which we talked about earlier, which was the first figure we did. And then we're still waiting for the Toy Fair release that we've seen from Snake Eyes, the ATV with the Viper and the Flight Pod. I know they do have actual names for them, but I don't remember at the top of my head, so I'm just keeping it as Snake Eyes and Viper. It's stated, at least from the floor of Toy Fair, that these are supposed to be a 2-pack, I guess, so we'll see what happens with that. And then the Action Soldier, we have no idea what's happening with that, because I made a previous video earlier today about how they were arriving at Walmart. So many people have been finding him at Walmart for $43, but it's not even up for pre-order just yet. So we're in a very strange time for Classified, that's for sure. Welcome Lidub to the chat, says Wii U, I just made it. Sup squad. Welcome Lidub to the chat. How is it going? Thank you so much for joining. BD Bonsai says 70 likes. How many do we have now? I haven't checked. Only Awesome says breathing room, that's money saving lineup, gimme Destro any and I'm good. Yeah, I will say that so far for 2026, according to the lineup that we had so far, starting from January up until now, it's been kind of a dud, to be quite honest. Like, there were some good figures, but a lot of them have been really big passes. So at least for me, I'm a little bit happier because there's only like a few left that I personally need. Like I shared this before in yesterday's live stream. Battle Force 2000, Muskrat, Toxo-Viper, Tracker, Psych Out, the blue version, um, and like Voltar, and you know, of course, there's all these other ones that are like I would like to have, but I don't really need them. So it's like we're still like, you know, that's fine. But I assume we should knock out a good few of these at some point soon. Um, we're at 68. Okay, just one more like for 69 to head for what's his name? 49ers birthday. Yeah, no, that's T-Dub says Royal Guard was not a dud. No, Royal Guard was one of the best ones they released. I just mean like from what I can remember off the top of my head. There were some duds, but there were some decent ones too. Couchboy says, "Curse you, Pulse, sell me Disney, Coco, Skeleton, Skeletor, Face, Soldier, Dude Dang on a line sale, please." D. Sanchez says, "All right, congratulations, everyone. We have officially reached the 69 mark for 49er Brian. Wishing you and Only Awesome's nephew a very happy birthday. I hope the 69 likes does justice. Well, 71 now. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Will they do a Super Trooper? That would be one for the books," says Destro. Russell says December is going to be a wallet killer for me. Arctic Hiss and then all new Entertainment Factory Battlestar Galactica figures. Yeah, so release date wise, at least we still have some time for the Haslab Snowcat because that's July or August, and then we have the Arctic Hiss driver and Hiss tank, and that's like November or December. So those are more like the bigger prices, and then we still have to wait for the price point for the 3-pack of the Saw, Drift, and Steel Core figure, but everything else. Wait, so if I were to look at it correctly, the Ramp Rats are priced out at $60, at least for now. I could be wrong, but they're priced to be $60. Retro Techno, any of the retro figures price will be $28. Taurus and Reddog is $60. The what was it? The Haslab Snowcat, I forgot how much that was, but then the Arctic Hiss was $200. So yeah, I mean the prices have shot up like crazy, man. That's wild. Like nothing, I think nothing here other than the solo figures that are like the $28, the retro ones. Nothing on this list is under $50. So that's wild. Other than the retros, but because I don't think that 3-pack is going to be less than 65 at most. Can I get a happy birthday too? It's on Friday. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, Benedict says his birthday is on Friday, so let's all wish Benedict a very, 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 very happy birthday. An awesome supporter of the channel. I have seen Benedict on basically almost every single live stream, so thank you, Benedict, for always being here. Wishing you a very, very, very happy birthday. So let's all wish Benedict a very happy birthday, people. Victor V says, "Is it me or does Destro's legs seem off?" Yeah, I said earlier that his legs look a lot thicker. So hopefully the toy version isn't intense. Like, it's not a big deal if I complain about legs, but it does seem a bit wider, like thunder thighs in my opinion, but it could be different. We'll see. Couchboy says, "Victor, see all 15 of my Destro crazy wonky legs." That vehicle's a wheelchair, that long sword's a cane. But otherwise, let me know in the comments, what do you think out of this entire list right now? Which figure do you think is the weakest, and which figure do you think is the strongest? Let's see from your point of view. What do you guys think in the chat? And I'll try to read everyone's comment and see which one do you think is, from this list that we see here, including the ones on the bottom that we've seen from Toy Fair, which one do you think is the weakest figure? Which one do you think is the best figure? Russell Terrell says, "I gotta wait until December 21st. Yeah. Elvis, Costello, knees, Destro, or Elvis legs. I saw somebody do or post on Instagram a new mock-up of this Destro, and they use like slimmer legs, so it did look slightly better, but it is, whatever. All right, so Destro says the weakest is any polar character, or I guess he means Arctic character. The best figure is Wildbill. Okay. Loneliest Monk says Techno-Viper is the weakest and Destro is the strongest. Daddy Rocky, welcome to the chat. He says Iron Grenadier Destro was the last purchase from the Real American Hero days. Easily my favorite upcoming item. Nice. BD Bonsai says the weakest is Wildbill. Oh, wow. So we have one person saying Wildbill is the weakest. Another person saying Wildbill is the strongest. 2 people saying Destro is the strongest. Flaming Crow says Destro beats all of the rest are meh. BD Bonsai says strongest is Lady J. I mean, let's be real here. Lady J is a very strong contender just because that's the best Lady J head sculpt we've gotten in 5 years. So the fact that we actually have a really good sculpt of Lady J, like, I could care less about the whole Arctic outfit, but it's the most cartoon accurate we got of Lady J because she has the darker pants. So that works. Unless people are going to kit bash it, we'll see. Lidub says Techno-Viper is the weak as F. I like that Flint, and to be a little different and not to choose Destro, give me Flint because of the head sculpt. Yeah, the Flint and Lady J head sculpts are probably the best we've seen so far. Definitely better than any of the retros and original releases we've got, so that's good stuff. The Loneliest Monk says that Lady J is a strong second. Couchboy says weak legs, but Destro strongest by miles. Couchboy is spitting what? Different birthdays? He says, it's my girl's birthday tomorrow. By girl, do you mean significant other or daughter? Best friend forever's was the 18th. March baby's parents did it in June. Your parents made your B-Day, folks, 9 months ago in June. That's an image I didn't want to see, but thank you, Couchboy. Happy birthday to all your favorite people. That Lady J is a strong second. Benedict, happy birthday. A. Romo says the best Destro and last is Flynn. Jesus Ricardo says welcome. Oh, well, he says, hey, Shark. Saludados from Mexico. I remember the O-ring of Iron Grenadier Destro had a big boot on one of his legs. Well, first of all, shout out to Jesus all the way from Mexico watching. That's freaking amazing. We got an international watcher tonight. That's sick, dude. Freaking amazing. GIJOE really brings people together. Shout out to Jesus Ricardo all the way from Mexico. Very nice, man. Very, very nice. Shout out to you. All right, so before we conclude, let's take a look at the upcoming events again before we end off the stream. Upcoming 2026 events, the latest one where we are now adding, which I did earlier today, was today, March 25th. New renders, Iron Grenadier Destro and with his Despoiler, as well as the retros. Now, let's see, if I look at my calendar, March ends in about 6 days, so we'll just a little under a week, just 1 day under a week, and then we'll be in April. So, April and May, we don't have anything happening that I can think of at the time being because the GIJOE team is completely silent, but we all know that Yojo June is in May. Just kidding, it's in June. So that's going to be a heavy month because Yojo June is, something new like every freaking week. So that's going to be the most, the last 2 years were kind of like whatever because they didn't really optimize them to the best potential. But there's a very good chance by the end of Yojo June, like the last week of June, we should get an announcement for the latest 2026 Haslab, which is why that's going to be really exciting. Other than that, I don't know what the hell they're going to reveal or announce. So that's good shit. Then we have all the other events like San Diego Comic-Con and all the other stuff, but we'll get to that sooner at some point. And then to conclude the video, obviously coming soon, which we talked about before. The only things we have right now is the Iceberg figure, Deep Six, which was teased back on the lives, the artwork of Hydro-Viper, which recently just went out. And then we have Chabang, which is Ninja Force, which was announced during Action and Adventure podcast. So we should get some new name announcements, but sadly we haven't seen anything just yet. Zozu says Destro looks like the best Destro version so far. Yeah, I mean, I do like that head sculpt for sure. Loneliest Monk says he did, and a gold belt. Ricardo says, since there's a retro card Grunt, I wonder if they'll do a retro card clutch. Yeah, clutch, man. We haven't seen a retro clutch yet. Ooh, good one. Yeah. You're right. Alan says, I'm back, but way behind. Welcome, Alan. Russell Terrell says, your last live stream I mentioned about the next pre-order or reveals coming up. I was pretty shocked about today's reveals. Now, who knows what they'll come up with. That's very true. That's why I love being excited for random surprise drops from the GIJOE team. That makes it so much more exciting and fun. As like I said earlier in the stream, it's very easy to talk about leaks and rumors and all that stuff, which can also be very exciting, but it takes away a lot of the fun from it. So just like today, I had no idea any of the shit was happening, so it was really exciting to talk about. Only Awesome says, my birthday is in June. Well, we're going to celebrate it at that time, so remind me at that time, Only Awesome. And T-Dub says, a great Ohio toy show this weekend. Man, when my aunt used to live in Ohio, there were so many great like Adams action figures, and then there was this other one, I forgot what it was called, but so many great toy stores in Ohio, man. You guys are so lucky how many great stores you have. Jason says, Chabang will look great. Destro's my great, but we'll replace those legs with Iron Grenadier. Well, the Iron Grenadier has the, what's his name? The mustard guard legs. So, yeah. Loneliest Monk says that gray clutch was pretty much retro. Wait, there was another clutch? Or are you talking about Breaker? Water Moccasin and Thunder Machine should not be Haslabs. I hate Haslabs, says Leonard. Welcome to the chat, says that's what Leonard says. He hates Haslabs. Russell says, I think Comic Palooza is coming up again in Houston soon. Very nice. All right, so that pretty much concludes tonight's live stream. I want to thank you guys all for watching. Thank you to everybody who joined in tonight on this impromptu stream. This was pretty exciting. I love all these surprise drops. I love all the reveals. And happy birthday to all of those who mentioned their birthday. And welcome to all the new subscribers. Welcome to all the new people in the chat. Thank you for leaving comments on all the videos and liking the videos and supporting this channel. I really do appreciate it. It definitely helps and goes a long way. And we are only in March, and we still got a whole while to go. So with that being said, I want to thank you guys for supporting the channel. Thank you for joining tonight. Let's see what the GIJOE team has to offer. Maybe something in April. We'll see. But thank you for watching my videos. I really do appreciate it. And shout out to everybody in tonight's chat and to stream. Thank you guys for being one of the best, or being the best chats that I can ever ask for, man. You guys are freaking awesome. So till then, we'll see you guys. I'll see you guys all in the next live stream, and hopefully something good can come out of it. So till then, happy birthday to everyone. Thank you to the channel donations, and thank you guys for engaging in the chat. And if you were here in the stream and not in the chat, thank you for watching, and I appreciate it. Till then, we'll have a great weekend, and let's see what else happens. And